It's just wonderful. And I'm going on to climb some more mountains. Mountain in my big, big boots. Wow, we've got to get down to be who they really are. And it's just wonderful.
You're now tuned in to Evoking Evolvement. Our international duo is here. Danny's all the way in sunny California, USA.
Oh my God. And my co-host Vladdy is located way on the other side of the planet in the jewel of Latin countries, Spain, Europe.
Through discussions, interviews, and relating our own personal life awareness.
We, really hope to make your life just, a little bit more peaceful and allowing our podcast to educate, evoke, and entertain.
And today's trailblazing guest is a man of many talents, a RAF veteran, firefighter, athlete, worked in aviation, becoming an aviation secretary, a professional massage therapist, studied with monks in Thailand, a porter, a collector of antiquities, and a professional photographer who shot 2 portraits of Princess Diana, one of which is on exhibit at the National Portrait Gallery in London.
Wow. Wears me out. My God, so much. Most of all, this man is, believe it or not, a daredevil and an adventurer, which we will be spotlighting in today's episode of his passion for climbing mountains and his compassion for the HIV community. He has said, "My desire is to be the first mountain climber with HIV to climb the 7 summits." In 2016, he began this new hobby, as he calls it, and has already scaled 5 of the 7 summits.
And in his own words, he says that he's here today to demonstrate to those living with HIV that there are no barriers to what you can achieve, and to further annihilate stigma against those living with HIV anywhere in the world.
Beautiful quote. And another quote I want to bring to the table: mountain climbing with HIV is tough, and you're at the mercy of the gods. HIV didn't destroy me. It transformed me.
Well, Danny, this guy is driven, valiant, definitely a forward thinker and a game changer. Let's meet this spirited chap for a lovely chat.
And today we welcome George Grimes.
It's a pleasure to be talking with you both today. And I was very honored to be invited to talk about myself.
So you grew up on an industrial estate in East London.
That's right.
How was it growing up there?
How was it? Rough? Yeah, it was very rough. I mean, we were very poor. We made the best of it. And, I had very little privileges, no opportunities. School was very dire in those days, in the 70s. But as I say, we made the best of it. I didn't know anything else. I didn't know what having money meant or having the privileges of money meant or being comfortable. We were living day by day, and, there were cutbacks. The 70s were a really bad time here in Britain. We had the 3-day week. We had power cuts regularly. I remember lighting candles in the flat that we were in at the time. And this sort of perpetuated right through into the early 1980s. And so on the council estate, the industrial estate, both my parents, they worked in the factories, and we lived in a house that was associated with the factories. So you can almost whisk it back to Victorian times when the big landlords would build for the factory settings there. I mean, it was just carbon copy, really, but a different era. I couldn't wait to get out, to be perfectly honest with you, which is one of the reasons why I joined the military, so that I could leave. And that's what happened.
I think it was in your early teens that you found a passion in hiking, running.
Yes, that came through the youth club. and a wonderful man who ran the youth club, Les Chumley, and who's sadly no longer with us, but he was wholly committed to exploring with us the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme. And part of this was hiking, and we went to the Brecon Beacons to a setup called Glazebury House, which was funded by the local government and which was just phenomenal. It was, apart from the Cub Scouts and the Scouts, it was my first proper time of being away from home and for adventure. A bit pre-pubescent, I was a little fat kid, and so this was something very new to me. But passing through puberty, then I sort of like blossomed, as it were, and I really took to hiking, and I really enjoyed it. And I did the 3 award schemes for the Duke of Edinburgh's award, and the hiking was really phenomenal. And I went with some friends some of whom I'm still friends with today.
Wow. And so you said, it was pretty rough
on the estate.
Yeah, and which you said is why you left so early. And at 18, you enlisted in the RAF, Royal Air Force, and became a firefighter for 6 years, right?
Yes, that's right. And I had a great service. I had a wonderful time. I had an amazing time. So I was Royal Air Force firefighter. And then for a time, I sailed with the Royal Navy as part of the ship's crew. That was back from the Falkland Islands to Plymouth here in Britain, which was a 5-week voyage. And I was alongside the army in Central America as well. That was great. That was a great tour. But sadly, I wanted to do some stuff in Norway with the Marines, but it was too... I didn't have enough time. 6 years went quite quickly, and I determined to leave at that time, and it wasn't enough time for me to experience with the Marines in Norway. So anyway, I've caught up with that. I've been doing my mountaineering and everything, which is much more than I ever would have done at that time.
George, I asked myself what moves an 18-year-old guy to make that decision to get into all those activities.
Escape. As I say, I didn't really enjoy, 1, my upbringing, and 2, the environment in which I found myself as a young man growing up. And also, I came from a military family. My grandfather, my step-grandfather, he had been in the war, in the infantry and in Tabuk and North Africa, and my other grandfather, my paternal grandfather, he'd been in the Home Guard here in Britain. Some other of my ancestors were also in the military. It just seemed like the thing to do, to be honest with you. But it seemed like an adventure, which goes on from my Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme, and I very much wanted to do it.
Did you have any vision of your future,
No,
yourself?
I never had any vision. As a young lad, I saw Robert Wise's film West Side Story, and I wanted to be a dancer. That never happened. I've always been a wild ship at sea, just meandering until I suddenly realized that sort of like 35 or 36, I thought, God, I've got to do something because I haven't got a pension. And what's going to happen when I actually retire? Because I've got 0. So at that time, I really knuckled down and I did something concerted for my future. But up to that point, I'd been meandering and I had a great time. I had a wonderful time, not worrying about anything. But suddenly it just hit me. I thought, I've got to do something. Otherwise, life is going to overrun me.
And while you were in the military, I think it was around 20, we were about 21 years young, and you sort of came out gay to yourself. But at that time, it seems you had to keep it quiet because being gay in the military was punishable. It was a crime, imprisonable crime, and
Yes.
would result in dishonorable discharge with disgrace.
Yes,
What?
absolutely. So everything you've just said is absolutely right. And it was a horrendous situation to be in. And there were witch hunts to try and root out the gays out of the military. So this was out of the 4 services. The change happened in 1992, firstly, when the then Prime Minister John Major said to all the Foreign Office, it's absolutely fine to be gay now in the Foreign Office. That's obviously civil. But then it went on to the military. 97, Labour came to power, but it was Europe that forced the hand in year 2000, and then Britain was obliged to then accept gays in the military. However, in 95, there was a little article in the Sunday Times featured myself, and I said at that time that if there is a change in the law to allow gays in the military, nothing will happen because the gays are already there. And they were. I don't know, I'm not in touch with anybody currently in the military, but I just don't see that it's an issue anymore, which is great. I'm amazed it's happened so fast. And I never thought in my lifetime it would happen. Because when you were living under those conditions, always looking over your shoulder and just double checking everything, and the witch hunts were wicked, that they would trick people. And so living in that environment, you can't really foresee that there'd be liberation, there would be freedom of the politics and the personalities. And discipline starts at the top. Once the top boss says, stop it, this is now how we're going to play, then everything changes, a bit like a CEO of a company. And this happened. I still can't quite believe young men and young ladies are free now in military service to be who they really are. And it's just wonderful.
I mean, my God, how stressful.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I can't even imagine. I don't even want to imagine.
Yeah, me, myself. I mean, some people will immediately identify me as a gay man. Some people don't. Yeah, that's why after 6 years, as I came out at 21, which was halfway through my service, and then after a short time, I thought, there's absolutely no way I can stay within this environment. So I had to move on.
Now, you are currently employed as a porter for a residential block of mansion flats in London. Can you elaborate on that, please?
So a porter, it's a bit like a caretaker. I look after the interests of the residents and the building. You have lots of them in, like doormen in New York apartment blocks. I think they're called doormen in America. Am I right, Dan? They're to hand to help the residents. So, I look after the rubbish, the garden, deliveries that come in, supervise the contractors. It's like a caretaker's job. I've been doing it now for over 8 years. And I love it. And I'm very grateful to the residents because they allow me to go away on my expeditions. So a big thank you to them and a big thumbs up to them because without that, I wouldn't be able to go away. So I'm pleased that they were very patient with me and they allow me to do that.
Well, let's get right to the meat, baby. Let's get right to the meat. Tell us about your HIV diagnosis, George.
Well, that happened in 2005, and I suddenly became very ill. At that time, I was staying over in Barcelona, in Spain, one of my favorite cities, my second home. And I became very ill, and it's a long-winded story. I was traveling as aviation security. But it wasn't until I came back to London that I had the proper test, and I tested positive. So I had to leave the job that I was in, which was of great sadness to me because it was just such a wonderful job that I had. I'm still in touch with the manager. We got on so well. We occasionally chat. However, again, I had to move on and I had to set up my life again, which I did do. And that was in 2006. A very good friend of mine, Anthony McCauley, he put me up in his flat, and I'm forever indebted to him for doing that. And I managed to set myself up and start a sort of new career.
So one time you were prescribed Kaletra, you were on a plane to Bangkok, and you got deathly ill.
Soon after my diagnosis and coming back to London to live, 2006, I was put onto a trial of drugs. I was asked to volunteer, and I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose, really, everything to gain. And this was through the clinic that I was part of. And one of the drugs was Kaletra, which is a really nasty drug. It's really nasty. You have to keep it in cool temperatures. It makes you high. And if you have consumed the drug within hours of eating or you eat after taking the drug, it just sends your mind, you start flying, basically. So it's a horrible drug. And I went on a trip to Bangkok to stay with friends in Jomtien on the coast. I asked the cabin crew, it was a foreign airline, I asked the cabin crew if they could keep my drugs, my collector, by the cabin door, because it was cooler there, and the doctor specifically said you must keep the medicine cool. It was a very busy flight, foreign flight, so it's full. And the cabin crew said, "What have you got? What's it for?" And I just, and the drugs make you feel down, they make you feel low energy, and I mean the whole shebang. And I was really taken aback, very upset. And I mean, if it was my ordinary self, I would have just fought that and just, I wouldn't have better have got away with it, basically. However, at that time, I was feeling so low. The only thing I could think of saying was, "I've got cancer," because everybody was looking. And she created a little theatre about it, and she was very loud. And I said, "I've got cancer." So that was that. And she took the medicine and she put it by the aircraft door. But it was a really horrible situation to be in and not nice at all.
Did that keep up with the entire flight, which is, how far is that from London flight?
Oh, it's hours. It's a long flight. Bangkok. I went via Doha, so that would have been a 7-hour flight. And then from Doha to Bangkok would have been another couple of hours or something. No, I just shrank into my seat and just tried to sleep, I guess. I can remember the gentleman nearby just looking on, horrified with what had happened. Absolutely horrified.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I still can't believe that somebody had done that. But some people are so ignorant and arrogant. It's yeah.
And what year are we talking about?
That was 2006, February.
February 2006.
Yeah.
Now, you have recently written and made an entry on the PLHIV documentary website, PL meaning persons or people living with HIV, under the umbrella of Stories of Resilience. And you're talking about your diagnosis and beyond. And we will put the website, your page, up on this podcast. But it's a very fascinating, engaging story that you wrote about your, basically, your resilience to this disease.
Yes, well, I've never shed one tear for this disease. I've fought from day one. Even when I was in hospital, seroconverting, after the seroconversion, very, very sick, very sick. I haven't shed one tear. Although at that time I didn't have a diagnosis. So that came when I came back to London. It was all very complicated. Stephen Doyle is the brainchild of the documentary that the written documentary that you're talking about. So he was the one that compiled all those words together. They are my words, but he's sort of ghostwritten it, if you like. But it's his baby, it's his project, and it's absolutely brilliant. He's a very productive man. I'm so pleased to have met him. What he does and finds people and to read their stories is great. And I was very pleased to have done that.
What do you think, George? What is the most challenging for a person recently diagnosed with HIV?
Stigma, ignorance. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm a tall, big guy, and I can walk through and I can handle myself. But, you know, if you're newly diagnosed and if you're newly on meds, because now you go straight onto meds, because the last thing they want is for you to infect anybody. So they want you to take the meds to then become undetectable. And then you cannot transmit that disease. And then you are safer than somebody who's never been tested. But for somebody who's newly diagnosed, they're going to be down. You know, it's a new situation for them. It's a new world. They have to adapt to, one, their illness, and two, their prospects for life. And the stigma and the ignorance is the greatest that they'll face.
So what is the best that this person can do to support themselves?
Be very careful. I would advise people to be very careful who you tell. I mean, I was so surprised with some people's reaction that were non-committal. People who you would think that there'd be a little bit of bedside manner. No, nothing. And then other people were wonderful, but you can't tell how people will react. So my advice would be very careful who you tell. I mean, some members of the family will absolutely take it on board, but then others will just act horrendously. So be careful.
Did you get connected to any kind of HIV organization that supported and or helped you?
Yes, I think I did. I remember this was 2006. I was newly diagnosed, and I went to a counsellor. Oh, it was at London Lighthouse. It was a counsellor. So I must have accessed that through the clinic. But I can remember going there and was speaking for well over an hour. And she was in tears.
What?
She was crying. Yes, she was crying. I said, it's me that's meant to be crying, not you. And I distinctly remember that. She was a very lovely lady. That was the only support I had. I had very good support from some friends locally who lived in St Luke's Road in Notting Hill and off Portobello. Yeah, so I had some very nice friends who supported me. But I didn't have, apart from that situation and that organisation, I didn't go to or seek access to any others.
Well, now we are going to move on to your passion.
Oh, right, yes. The mountaineering.
We are going to move on to your passion.
Mountaineering.
So in 2016, you decided to begin mountain climbing as a hobby, inspired by a couple of friends of yours.
Yes, that's right. So locally to here, where I'm working, I have some friends that live here, Anthony Macaulay and Dan Hall, and they'd invited me to dinner. This was in December 2016. I started this job in August 2016. Dan is a professional climber. He does climbing, but he does it for industrial units such as oil rigs, aerials, gasometers. He doesn't climb recreationally. So I was chatting with him about his work, and then he was describing people climbing Everest and the groups and everything. Well, I had no idea that you could actually pay to be part of a group and climb. I had no idea at all. And I'd been seriously training hard physically. My fitness was quite high by 2016. I'd left the sports academy, Locker 27 in Addlestone in Surrey. Hi, lads. I came to London and I started at another gym here in Westfield. I wasn't bored, but I was of a standard of physical fitness, and I just needed something else to do to busy my mind, as it were. And I got talking with Anthony and Dan at dinner, and then got talking about these tours and these trips, and I thought, wow, I'd love to do that. And I slept that night, and I woke up the next day, and I thought, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start climbing. And I've been on this incredible journey. I mean, I've done a timeline for us today. And when I look back, I think I must have been absolutely mad. The way I started, I mean, it was just full throttle. I mean, it wasn't holding anybody back, 100% engines on full blast. And it's still going on. And I'm loving it. But it has been a wonderful journey so far. I've learned so much, and I've met some wonderful people. I mean, I've climbed Mont Blanc. It's incredible. I've climbed Denali. It's just wonderful, and I'm going on to climb some more mountains.
What is your next climb?
So this year, I'm going back to a user mountain in Barcelona called Mount Montserrat. I call it my training mountain because I yomp up and down Montserrat.
Please define a yomp.
Okay, a yomp. Okay. Yomp is Tactical Advanced Battle, TAB. Some people call it tabbing. Every military unit has their own name for it. I call it yomping because it was introduced to me by Marines that I was training with on a security course. So that's why yomping has stuck with me, the name. Otherwise, other people call it tabbing. And basically, you're advancing with as much equipment as possible, a backpack, military backpack with kit, and you're advancing as quickly as possible over the greatest amount of distance as possible. Every Sunday, I run up and down 8 flights of stairs here, carrying 13 kilograms on my back, and I do that for 3 hours. In Easter, I go back to Barcelona because then I'll be yomping on the mountain with around about 10 kilograms, 11 kilograms. It's a 4-hour yomp over a great distance, and I go up 1,300 meters to the summit of Montserrat. I whiz back down. So when I'm on the level and when I'm going down, I'm fast. I'm like a bullet. Going up, I'm steady as she goes because I'm not a young man anymore. So I do go fast, but I'm not running. The young lads can run, but I can't because I've got weight on my back and everything. So that's yomping. Does that make
Well, it sounds like I'm going when I go shopping and I'm in a hurry. Something's very similar.
Yeah,
Almost the same, you know.
Yeah. I hate shopping, so it's my form of shopping. But my weight's on my back, and of course I'm watching for everything. So like you, Vladimir, when you go shopping, you're looking at the pavement, making sure you're not going to fall over. So which is exactly what I do on the mountain in my big boots, making sure that I'm not going to go do a somersault and crack my head open.
Once I heard someone say that every peak, every summit has its own character, its own personality. Do you feel anything like that?
Yes. Well, they've all got different views. Yeah, they're different heights, different weather conditions. You yourself have different physical conditions. Thankfully, all the summits that I've climbed, I've been in an excellent physical condition. The last thing you want is to get a cold or a flu or something similar before you climb. And for that reason, here's an interesting point, that when you do climb, and there are lots of people on the mountains, on teams climbing, the last thing you want to do is to start befriending everybody because you might catch a cold. So you have to keep yourself back a bit and protect yourself that way. And yes, the highest summit I've done so far is Aconcagua in the Andes in Argentina, which was 7,000 meters high. The sensation at the top was incredible because as I looked down, it was like being in an aircraft. It was incredible. In fact, an aircraft was flying across into Chile to land, and we were above it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But the view from Aconcagua, I will never, ever forget. And I thought, wow, we've got to get down. I hadn't realized how high, Yeah. And the top camp there, I think, was 6,200 meters. Well, that's higher than most summits. And it was very cold as well.
George, what changes in you? What is different in you when you're climbing?
Well, it's my focus for one. Before the summit day, I'm completely committed to summiting. Okay, something goes wrong, then you have to adapt to the surroundings, and if there's a medical emergency with somebody or etc. But my mind focus is completely committed on summiting. So I would do everything possible to promote that. So sometimes I'm not engaging with some of the people on the teams because, now here's another interesting fact that I found out, because I just assumed that everybody who buys into these groups would be of the same mindset. Well, no, they're not. Some are brash, some chancers, some have not trained, some have not got proper skills, but the companies allow the people to buy themselves places because they're earning money. And some of these people will be returned to unit or, taken down the mountain as having failed. But some people, shall we say, have different kinds of personalities, which might be slightly irritating. So I will let all these idiosyncrasies go by me, and I'll focus on that summit. Whatever I can do to promote myself to get to that summit, I would I will do. And sometimes that means getting on famously well with some people, experts, people who are wise and nice personalities. But there are other people who you'd rather not be with, to be perfectly honest with you. But you just have to be patient and bite your lip. That's my mindset to get to the summit. After the summit, well, it's just going down with adulation, with just success, and it's just wonderful feeling. Euphoria.
Any close calls?
Yes, Denali, I fell off.
You fell off?
Yeah, so with Summited, the summit days are strenuous. They can be from anything from 12 hours to 18 hours. And the summit day from Denali, our last camp was pitched on ice. And then summit day, we had a few problems going up. We had to lose, one of our team had to go back down. And getting up to the summit of Denali was very, very strenuous. Coming back down, so we were within sight of the camp. We were within sight of the camp. We were roped up. This wave of nausea just came over me, of fatigue, just gross fatigue. And I stopped myself, and I was with a middle guide. We were on a very narrow path on the mountainside, and I can still remember seeing it was literally between 25 and 30 minutes down to the site. That's how near we were. And then I must have, I lost my footing and I fell off. But because we were roped up, the two end teams managed to anchor themselves. And then I flipped myself over with my ice axe as I've been taught. But believe you me, when momentum goes, it goes. So despite all the good training and the reactions still going down, the guide that was with me, she came down as well because she was hooked onto me by the rope. And then eventually we came to a stop. But unbeknown to me, my trouser pocket was unzipped because I used to take my phone out and take photographs and videos. I had my big camera with me as well. And then I used to put the phone back in the pocket, but it wasn't zipped up. And I lost my phone. And I didn't realize until the next day. That's how tired I was. Because you sleep in your clothes, because it's so cold up there. But yeah, that was a close call. And I don't think I've had any other close calls. I've fallen over on my yomping occasionally, but other close calls, I don't think I have. That's the major one. Yeah, so we edged ourselves up, shuffling along like penguins, up the mountainside, back to the path, and then we're all right. And then when I got to, when we got down, and then I got to the first anchormen, and they said, "Are you all right?" I said, "Of course I'm all right. Of course I'm all right." I didn't think anything of it.
Well, Vladdy, we join him for his next yomp.
Well, I will wait you down there in Barcelona, okay? So when you come back, I will receive you with all the drinks or whatever you want, and I think we'll enjoy it a lot, this part of it. But I like hiking, actually. I've never climbed that much, but I do. In Madrid, we have Sierra de Madrid, so maybe it's not that impressionant as the ones, but we have very good views. I'm just promoting, my favorite city. So one day we'll see and climb. Maybe we climb in Madrid.
Well, that'd be great.
Okay? That would be great, really.
Speaking of that HIV website, I'm not sure if I got this quote from there or elsewhere, but something you said which really touched me. You said, "Up there on the mountain, I'm not George with HIV. I'm just George climbing against all odds."
There's a reason that people do things, doing what I've done. And looking through this timeline, I mean, I'm punching the air, but I'm more than punching the air. I'm just punching all those bad people I've met in my life. So every time I climb, it's with liberation, it's with freedom, it's with head held high. And then when I summit, I'm punching all those bad times, bad situations that I've experienced through my life, and I'm winning.
Therapeutic as well.
Oh, completely. I've met some lovely people, some of whom have come to stay with me here in London, and I keep in touch, and lovely, lovely people, really enriching people. And that's wonderful. And of course, you know what? I know a lady called Sarah Bryan, nee Reynolds. We did the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme together. And she's similar to the people that I meet when I'm mountaineering, because, you know, you never lose that connection. You never lose it. You're friends for life.
Now, as we said in our introduction, you have already scaled 5 of the 7 summits. Can you name those 5 that you have climbed?
So the first one was Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, in Africa. That was great, but that was the first one. But I didn't know if I was going to take to the climbing. So I wore all my old ski gear that I bought in 2005, and I was frozen. I was so cold. So I didn't want to commit a lot of money to climbing gear, trekking gear, if I wasn't going to like it. But of course, I took to it. So the next mountain I did was Mount Elbrus. By that time, I'd bought myself some proper gear. Elbrus was great fun. Met some nice people there as well. Had some wonderful memories of Mount Elbrus. And then after Elbrus, I climbed Aconcagua, which was a great trip. It's so worth doing. And then after Aconcagua, I climbed. Excuse me one moment.
George, now can you tell us ignorant people where these summits are? Like Elbrus, is that Indonesia?
No, Elbrus is in Russia, so that's the European highest mountain.
Okay.
But some people climb instead. They climb Mont Blanc, which is technically harder. That they substitute Mont Blanc instead of doing Mount Elbrus, because some people, they can't go to Russia. But I did actually manage to go to Russia to do Elbrus. And during the pandemic, 2021, I did actually climb Mont Blanc. I started my rock climbing with Mick Jones at Summit Mountain Skills. Hello, Mick. He's absolutely brilliant. I was so lucky. I teamed up with a great guide called Sandy Allen. He's one of Britain's finest climbers. Used to climb with Doug Scott, Chris Bonington. I mean, the legends. I did another week's training for winter skills with Mick Jones, and then I decided to do Mount Denali, which is another crazy thing to do, because Mount Denali is one of the hardest mountains to climb. It's in the top 10. A lot of people that climb Everest do not climb Mount Denali because you have to carry your own kit. So it's 40 kilograms on your back, 40 kilograms on a sleigh, and you are climbing that mountain. There's no Sherpas, there's no help, there's nothing but you. But I was determined to do it, and I did it. I'm still in touch with some of the people that I met on that trip. It was a trial, I have to say, an absolute trial. I came back to London, I arrived back to London, and for the whole week, I didn't stop eating. Denali is North America. Aconcagua is South America. And then I climbed in Australia, a little Cusco, because Carson's Pyramid in Australasia, in Indonesia, is closed. It opened briefly last October for 1 month only, but it's closed. So the alternative is in Australia, and it's a tiny little peak, Cusco, and I've done that. So that's the 5.
Wow.
Oh, I should say I'm the first climber with HIV to have summited Denali. So it's the 3rd of July, 2022. Thank you very much.
Wow.
So but my next ambition is to have effective sponsorship. So there's a wonderful climber called Mustafa Salemi. He's Jordanian. He's a top climber, world-class top climber. He's sponsored by everybody. He's mentoring me, and I'm hoping to get a nice sponsorship deal together, fingers crossed, for Mount Vincent in Antarctica. So that's my next big goal. But this year I'm going to the Himalayas with Summit Mountain Skills and Mick Jones and his team. And we're going to climb Mira Peak from Nepal, Kathmandu. We're going into the Himalayas. That's in November. And then in this coming September, it's my birthday, and I will be on the summit there, Mount Tubkol. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun. I thought, could I have a party? Should I have a party? And I of course, I'm sociable, but my life's priorities are different now. I thought I'd like to be on a mountain. So I want to go back to Morocco. So I thought I'd do that little summit there, 4,000 meters. But so that will be a yomp. So I've got myself a single guide. I've stipulated fast, fit and fast. That's it. That's what I stipulated, fit and fast. So that would be a 2-day yomp, going up and coming down on, but it'd be my birthday.
So when is your birthday? When you celebrate your birthday?
In September.
Well, what day?
Well, I can't give the day. I mean, because of security.
Because you don't want us to be in your birthday party. Okay. So I mean, just are you Virgo?
I'll tell you what. I'll send you the invitation because I've invited friends. Some friends are joining me in Marrakesh. They won't be on the climb, but they will be in Marrakesh. So I'll send you an invitation. You're more than welcome to come. Absolutely.
We'll be there.
Yeah, done. Trey done. George, you said that HIV didn't destroy you, but transformed you. What do you mean? Special effects?
It transformed me because it steered my life in a different path to where I am today, which is in a wonderful place. So I have a very nice lifestyle. You know, I live in a very nice place in London. I've got nice accommodation, which is tied into the job. And I cycle to my gym. When I go away, I just jump on a train. I'm straight to the airport. There's wonderful culture here. I grew up not far from here. Well, when I was an infant, not far from here. I love the cinema and I cycle to the cinema here. And so if it wasn't for the HIV, I don't know where my life would have gone, to be perfectly honest with you. So everything has steered me to here, where I am today. And HIV is a defining part of that, especially for my health, because being sick, so sick, is not nice. And psychologically, every day is a day that I'm not supposed to have. Other things have happened in my life where, I'm a cat with 9 lives and I've had my 9 lives. So every day is a blessing for me. And to be this incredibly fit after so long and after all what I've experienced, it's nothing less than a miracle, to be perfectly honest with you. So with this addition of mountain climbing and everything, it's defining. And I can't believe that I'm in this phase of not my last years of life, but the latter years of my life, where I'm a lot fitter than most young people.
Now, do you have a crowdfunding page
No, for the sponsorship, decided that I will approach big companies, corporations. They're the ones that can afford to sponsor the amount that is needed for Vincent. I just don't like asking people for, $10 or $5. I just, it would take thousands of people to do that. I think the corporations would be best, and they would get a lot out of it as well, because they get promotion and value from that. And I'd be more happy doing it that way than doing the crowdfunding way, to be honest with you. Unless I was advised otherwise. But don't forget, I'm being mentored by the wonderful Mustafa, and this is what we've settled at.
I understand that. So getting back to your birthday, you are hitting a milestone age.
Yes, I will be 60. I will be 60. Thank you. And I can't believe I'm here, but I am, albeit in a couple of months. Of course, the greatest thing in living in London is that when you're 60, the mayor gives you a free travel pass. So any train, any tram, any bus, any underground metro train, it's free for the whole of London. It's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, but there's 2 points to this. Basically what it does is it gets older people, I'm going to be an elderly person, but it gets people moving. So people go out. So it's good for their mental health, because they're working out journeys, they're calculating, and 2, they're running for buses. I've seen them run for buses, and I thought, there you are. They're keeping fit, running after the bus, or they're going on journeys. And the second benefit is they're spending their money. Older people have disposable income. Now, if they're staying indoors because they don't fancy paying £10 for their transport, then they're not going to spend their money. But if they're going out, they're going to have a coffee, they're going to have lunch, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and they're spending their money. And it's good revenue for London businesses.
Smart.
Yeah. Smart, very smart, really. So, have you ever been starstruck?
No. Well, after leaving the military, I spent a short time working as a model, but meeting stars, I've enjoyed meeting stars for sure. But I haven't been starstruck, where you mean that you are just so... No, I haven't been starstruck.
How did you find Princess Diana?
On the 2 occasions I photographed her, I was obviously there with the camera. First time was a private session, and it was very, very brief. She was fine, and she was visiting a charity in Lambeth Walk, but it was private. There was only myself there, the charity, and the people that she was visiting, some down and outs in Lambeth Walk. The second time was September 1993, and that was quite a laid-on public affair at Hines Street Church in Marylebone, and I became part of the Royal Rota for that. So I was there photographing for the charity. So I didn't actually properly meet her as such on those, but I suppose I did, but it wasn't to chat with or to. The second session was really interesting because the press, once they had got their film, once they got their photographs, the Rat Packers, that they sort of left her alone. But so I continued to tour with her around the church, and that's when I got my shot, and I used the available light, and I zoomed in. I used the manual Nikon camera, and I got that shot, which she liked. Yes, she signed the original for me, which is why the National Portrait Gallery took on that image following the sad passing of the princess. But as for how was she, so those are my recollections of those 2 times.
Who is your celebrity crush?
Well, I suppose I'm just watching 2020 show called Hollywood. I've forgotten the actor's name. He did play Superman. He looks a little bit like Henry Cavill. Anyway, he's very engaging on the screen at the moment. That's what I'm watching at the moment. But I would say Fassbender. Is it Michael Fassbender?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so he played an officer in Inglourious Bastards with Brad Pitt. So that would be my complete crush there. But as for current, I don't know. I don't really have any. But at the moment, I'm watching this Hollywood TV series, Netflix. 4 years too late, really. I mean, it was done in 2020. I completely missed it. A friend of mine told me I should watch it, and I can't believe I've actually missed it. It's such a good series.
It's very good. That's Ryan Murphy, isn't it?
I don't know his name. I'm so sorry. But yeah, he's very engaging, and he's a good actor, isn't he?
Well, Ryan Murphy, I think, created it and produced it and may have directed it.
I see.
Yeah.
The actor is a good actor, but I think the direction is very good as well.
Yeah,
I seem to think a lot of it is the direction.
Yeah, he's terrific.
Yeah.
We might know the answer, but what's your favorite color?
Ooh, red.
Oh, red.
Yeah.
I love it. What would you tell your younger self now?
Be patient. I am so impatient, and I still am. Look at that timeline. I'm so impatient. I can't wait. No, I've got to do it now. If it's something that gets in my head, I have to do it, and nothing will stop me. But I would tell my younger self, a bit more patience. The wonderful thing now is that I'm so much more patient with people, especially when it comes to negotiating. And, if there's an end goal, then if you're patient with people and you budge them the right way, so much more than, because I used to be like a bull in a china shop, which doesn't help anybody. That's what I would tell myself. Be patient and a bit calmer.
When was the last time you cried, George?
Quite recently, I saw a film called Better Man.
Oh.
And it was, now, I'm not a fan of Robbie Williams. In fact, I spoke with some people. I said, I don't take to him because, I am so strict, disciplined. I am everything he is not. I mean, he is a superstar, a phenomenal talent, but that film resonated with me. By the end of it, his father. I just thought such great achievements. Against all the odds of his life, he has come up to be one of the biggest stars on the planet. He's still himself. Yeah, so by the end of the film, I mean, I wasn't wailing or anything, but yeah, I mean, I had to sit there and I couldn't believe I was crying. I was just overwhelmed, really. It was such a good film. And I'm so pleased that they did the animation with the monkey features, that they were able to do the AI. Now, an actor would not have been able to have done that. So I recognize all the mannerisms of Robbie. I recognize all the facial expressions of Robbie. So for me, it was Robbie, because I grew up with him being in Take That. Take That was the biggest group of that time. So that film, that was the last time I cried.
Name one of your favorite films of all time.
So easy. Lawrence of Arabia. I've seen it. I've seen it so many times. I cannot count. That film for me, my grandparents absolutely loved the film. I remember watching it on the television. When it was broadcast, they broadcast one half on one night and then the second half on the second night. And that's how it was broadcast. I can't remember if it was BBC or the commercial television station at that time, ITV. But that's how they broadcast it. I love the music. I just love the tale. And I became a T.E. Lawrence's proper name, Thomas Edward Lawrence, fan. He was my boyhood fan. And but the whole story and the Englishman in Arabia in the desert, and hence I'm going to Morocco in September, an Englishman in Arabia. Well, on the sidelines. Yeah, that film for me, I love the film. I love the tale. And of course, at the end, he was Britain and France just carved up the whole region. He was betrayed.
Now name one of your favorite classical or all-time actors.
When I was a child, I used to love watching Sherlock Holmes. I've got a bit of a detective mind. So the old Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes film, I loved. God, I used to watch them every Friday. I remember I'd be stuck rigid to the screen watching. So I guess Basil Rathbone, but I suppose you want... John Gielgud was a bit of fun, wasn't he? John Gielgud, especially, I mean, I loved his film in Arthur, but that's not so classic. Richard Todd, Richard Burton, and I've just watched him again in Where Eagles Dare. Ron Goodwin did the soundtrack for that, and that film I watched again, and it's tested time. It's a great film, and Richard Burton was great in that. He's a good classical actor, isn't he? But I'm not one for watching Shakespeare or anything like that because I don't understand it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, no, seriously, I don't. And opera, I mean, I like the sound of opera. Sometimes I play opera. I don't understand a word they're singing.
You're having a dream dinner and you're having 3 guests over, so 4 total with you. So 3 guests. Who would you invite to have dinner together, either living or dead?
First one, Alexander the Great. Second one, H.G. Wells, the writer. He wrote The Time Machine. And The Time Machine is a great book because, this person travels and through all time, back, forwards. So I think H.G. Wells had a great mind.
Yeah.
I think T. Lawrence.
The
third one.
Excellent.
God, they're all dead. They're all dead. Oh my God.
What do you wear to bed at night?
Good question, because I actually sleep as if I'm on a mountain in my bed. I have a sleeping bag. I have a sleeping bag on the bed and I sleep just in my underwear and maybe a thermal because I don't have the heating on. I have the window open. And then when I'm ramping up my training to do a mountain, I then have my iPhone there and I have hours and hours of snowstorms audio playing because when you're on the mountain and there's a snowstorm, you can't sleep. So I condition myself to the mountain. I say to my friends when they see my sleeping bag, I say, I'm never off the mountain. And and then like 6 weeks before a trip, maybe 2 months, I'll start ramping up my training. I'll add more weight to my rucksack to do the stairs. As I say, I'll start playing snowstorms. You can get them on YouTube and they play for hours. They're looped and they're like 8 hours. and I'll play a snowstorm, but I'll be wearing my underwear and a thermal top. My bedroom is cold at night. It's completely mad. It is.
Oh my.
But it makes for a more comfortable experience when you're on the mountain.
It makes sense to me. You're
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Could you name a couple of people who inspire you?
Right. So at the moment, there's a British chap called Kenton Cool, and he's climbed Everest now. I think it's 18 times or 16 times. He started climbing at age 17. He's like the current great climber, Mustafa, my friend Mustafa Salemi. I mean, he's amazing. Oh God, he's got so much knowledge and so much insight, and he's done so much as well. He's although he climbs, he's also an adventurer. He's done Arctic and Antarctic. Inspirational people. So Kenton Cool, and there's a couple of runners as well who run on mountains. They're quite inspiring. This is another interesting point. I don't actually class myself, although I put mountaineer on my social media, I don't class myself as a mountaineer. I don't class myself as a skier or as a scuba diver or as a hiker or as anything, or as a boxer, or as I do gymnastic rings as well. I'm an enthusiast because I don't predominantly do one thing. So these people that I'm looking at on screen, they are a climber, they are a mountain runner, they are that's their thing, and that's mostly what they do. But I do lots of different things. I keep my fitness up, so then I'm able to ski, I'm able to scuba dive. But I don't call myself a mountaineer. Another name for a mountaineer would be crag rat. That's somebody who is always up cracks in the mountain. I mean, they live and breathe mountaineering and climbing and bouldering and stuff like that. I could never describe myself as that. I'm more or less an enthusiast than these people that I've just described who inspire me. They've got their niche, and that's what they do. And as I said before, I take expertise from them, and I learn from that.
So we want to know what's your favorite physical asset above the waist.
Of what? Of me?
Of you.
Oh, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, because I'm not looking at myself. People look at my chest a lot.
Okay, yeah. We'll take that. All right, now what's your favorite physical asset below the waist?
Well, I do. I mean, people do look at my legs a lot. But then, I've been hiking, climbing since young. And then I did mid-distance running since 14, all the way up to 2000. Yeah, people look at my legs all the time. So I guess they must be all right.
What happens after we die?
Oh, wow.
Possibly go to heaven. I'm a spiritual person. I'm confirmed into the Church of England. I will happily go to sleep because I do sleep, but not well and not enough. And the only time I properly relax is when I'm having a proper massage, but I will probably sleep and at peace. So, I mean, who knows? If I went to heaven, it might be a bloody party. That's the last thing I want. So, seriously, I don't go to parties anymore. I don't go clubbing anymore. I go hiking on mountains and I go to sleep early. What will happen when I die? I will finally go to sleep at peace. Yeah.
Name a worst sexual nightmare that you encountered with someone else.
I used to know this lady, well, I say lady, girl, and she purported to be a lesbian. In those days, I did used to drink alcohol and we went out. I mean, London's a vibrant place. And I think we'd been to the Fridge in Brixton, which was a big nightclub then. We were so late leaving that the only option was that she had to stay with me. God. She said, well, it's all right because I'm a lesbian. I said, okay, fine. So we had to share this single bed. Oh my God, boy, she was not a lesbian.
Wow.
Yeah, no. And I was fuming. I mean, her nails. I mean, God, guys, how do you cope? I mean, no, that was not a pleasant scenario to be in.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I just recently left the military. You know, you share beds all the time. Even when you're kids, you share beds. And that wasn't a pleasant experience.
Sorry for making you leave that again. Who do you want to play you in the biopic of your life?
In the movie about
in the movie, an unknown.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. If you think of the James Bond film 1962, they picked the unknown Sean Connery. Look what happened.
Right.
And if you think also of one of the most popular films now, Bond films, is all these lights are going off, is On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and George Lazenby. He was an unknown. Peter Hunt, the director, had an interview. Oh, what's happening? Everything's going off. Can you still see me?
Shop.
Hilarious. Anyhow, yeah, so George Lazenby, he was an unknown as well. So I think an unknown.
I like that.
So you are James Bond, almost. And the next James Bond will be George Bond. Okay, well, our last question for today. Please choose word or short phrase to describe George Grimes.
A short phrase: impatient, irascible, cheeky monkey.
Cheeky monkey.
Cheeky monkey.
I love it. Wow, what a joy this has been.
Well, thank you.
This
Likewise.
time with George. And we're celebrating right now because we got him. Kids, we got him right here. You're going to love this episode. Oh my God, you're going to want more of him. George, will you come back sometime?
Yes. Yeah, people
wonderful.
got questions. I'll be happy to answer.
Well, you certainly are a role model, and we thank you for all of your transparency today.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you to our audience as well. We appreciate you watching our channel. Please leave comments and click on the thumbs up onto this episode. More compelling episodes are coming soon, so do stand by.
Do stand by, kids. So, adios.
Ciao.
Adios.
From Spain, California, and London.
Bye.